Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Mesa City Council study session for the afternoon of Monday, February the 13th. All of our council is present, but I've received word that Mr. Summers is on his way here, so we'll go ahead and begin the meeting because we're scheduled to begin and we're on TV, but I know Mr. Summers will join us shortly. First item on the agenda for this meeting is to review the agenda for tonight's council meeting. I know we went over it Thursday, so I don't know if we have a lot more questions, but we are, right, I know off of the consent agenda is the zoning case that we have been referring to as Sweetwater, also known as Homestead at Lehigh Crossing. And I know we have several requests to speak on that, so I suspect that's what we'll spend a lot of our time with tonight. But council, yes, go ahead, Ms. Pillsbury.
If we have some additional questions on that, should we want to just do it all upstairs then? Or should we try to ask them now?
We can take them now.
I don't think there's a wrong way to do that. So we can do it both, in fact.
Okay, should we do? I don't know, what do you guys want to do?
It's okay to ask now.
Okay, let's do that right now then.
Go ahead and ask away and we'll see who comes up to answer it.
Okay. I guess Mary's right here. And maybe it's transportation, I guess, for my question. So we just received a lot of emails over the weekend, as I think probably you have seen most of those, but there was just some questions about a single lane roundabout versus a double lane roundabout, and that single's safer but double's not. But then I saw an ADOT video that they made about double lane roundabouts that even showed some big trucks and trailers and stuff. So I was wondering if you could speak to that specifically. I know I asked about roundabouts last time and you guys answered my questions, but the actual issue of single versus double.
Why don't you first answer the question about ADOT's letter to us?
So yes, Mayor and Council, RJ Zeter with the Transportation Department. Eric Guderian is with me, our Deputy Director for Traffic Engineering, excuse me. ADOT has come out very strongly in favor of including a roundabout. And what's important to note is that the entrance exit to the proposed apartment project is all within ADOT's right of way. So ADOT is the approval authority for plans and access and all that. I don't believe they will even consider approving a right-out situation at this location.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we could debate back and forth,
Right.
but right now, this is ADOT's call. It's their right of way, it's their call. So that's why we requested a affirmative from them. So I don't know, we could spend a lot of time talking about different studies, but right now, this is what we know, and they're the ones making the decision.
Okay, and is it similar to size to the one that's at the 202 and out east, Ellsworth or whatever road that is?
There's Brown and McKillop.
Brown and McKillop. I don't know. I drive through it all the time. I can't think of exactly where it's at, but
Brown.
not Brown and McKillop. Right. There's one on Brown and one at McKillop's at the 202 roundabout. So are they about the same size?
Councilmember Spilsbury, I would imagine they're the same size. I haven't looked at the measurements and the diameters, but with them both being at a traffic interchange of a freeway and similar roadway characteristics, they'll be similar in size.
Okay, and then is it true, I saw the figure mentioned several times that there would be upwards of 2,000 cars because of this development. Is that a number that you're familiar with? It's 400 parking spots, so I'm just wondering where the 1,800, 1,900 number comes from.
Well, Eric's looking that number up. I think what's important to note is that the volumes on McDowell today are really low for an arterial roadway. So we have zero concern of the existing infrastructure to handle the traffic should the departments be approved.
Okay.
Also, I think it's important to note, again, while Eric's looking, Councilmember Freeman had asked us to take a look at some crash information at this location, and the highest number of crashes are actually eastbound lefts to the ramp going north to the freeway. So eastbound McDowell turning left. So the roundabout will actually help with that, should that go forward, because you're eliminating that movement where people are now making right turns rather than making a left turn. And as we've previously explained, and ADOT noted this in their response to the city, they have concerns, as do we, if there's a right-out situation, in other words, no roundabout, that because most folks are trying to get to the freeway, they're going to be making a U-turn at Lehigh Road. which we have concerns about as well from a safety standpoint.
Okay.
Council member, maybe I can answer the traffic counts there. You told me, RJ, 11,000 cars per day are using the McDowell Road, and the capacity is 33,000 cars per day.
Yes, give or take, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there's
Way low.
a big difference between if it even adds 2,000 cars per day. But regardless, the developer might be able to talk about that.
So, yes, in the traffic study, it denotes 1,900 trips per day. So a trip is either one car in or one car out.
okay.
And that seems to make sense. If there's, close to 400 units, we assume 5 to 6 trips per day per unit for an apartment complex.
Okay, that's where that number comes from then. So, but the capacity is drastically bigger to be able to handle that.
We're very comfortable that the existing roadway network can accommodate the
Okay.
traffic that would come from this
I
development.
do have another question. I don't know if anyone else has a transportation. Maybe you just stay up there for a minute. I'll just ask my other question then, probably for Rachel. And this is probably a slide in this presentation, but as far as the neighborhood outreach went, how big of an area did they reach out to?
Mayor, Councilmember Spilsbury, it's my understanding from the applicant's citizen participation report that they notified neighbors within 500 feet of the property, which is what is required by our code and by state statute.
And would that have happened the first time and then again a second time when this came back?
So this went to planning and zoning 2 times, so it would have occurred before both of those 15 days prior. Those letters would have had to been sent and the site would have been posted as well as a newspaper ad.
So the neighborhood that is just south of this property that's like up higher on the hill, would those neighbors, that neighborhood have gotten those letters?
I believe they would. I don't have them right in front of me. Can't measure it, but they do have a list in the citizen participation report about who was notified.
Okay. Well, I kind of get the feel that most of the opposition is just Lehigh in general and maybe not the ones that live like right there. But we did receive some from the neighborhood that's to the south that also suggested that they didn't know about it. And so I just wanted to find out if that particular neighborhood that I think would be impacted by the view. I think it's the only neighborhood that would be impacted by the view. So,
Mayor, council, just for your information, the applicant will be here at the meeting at 5:45, so
Okay.
that's probably a question that he'll be able
and
to
he
answer
could
for
answer
you.
that. Okay, all right. I think that's all I have right now. Thank you.
I have a question on transportation, so don't go away. But I don't want to interrupt.
I think I'm good.
Okay, did anybody else?
Yeah, Ms. Duff.
I had a note here about the park and ride, as far as the access congestion, the traffic around the park and ride being impacted. And I'm trying to find the map. At the time I looked at it, I had a question on making sure that, there wasn't any danger in the access or the,
Mayor, Councilmember Duff, the access to the parking lot is off Gilbert Road, so I don't know how this
Okay, it's
project
not
really
even
could
near?
affect it at all.
okay.
They
so-
do have a driveway on McDowell, but it's offset from the development.
Okay, so I just saw an email, something about that. So anyway, okay, thank you for confirming that.
And just one other question. There's claims that it's already congested and dangerous. We've already said it's not really congested probably, but what about the dangerous claim that there's high frequency of accidents? Is that something you've all?
So that's a great question. We went back and looked at crash records from the last 5 years. There's nothing excessive. Actually, we looked at the section of McDowell Road between Gilbert Road all the way over to 32nd. The interchange location that's in question tonight actually had the highest amount of crashes per year out of all the intersections. And most of those, the majority of those were left turn crashes, trying to get onto the freeway, which a roundabout will mitigate those crashes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding this zoning case? All right, any other questions regarding anything else on tonight's agenda?
Not a question, but, you guys are good. We're done with
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you, thanks. I don't think we probably need to pull it off consent or anything, but I just wanted to bring some attention to 6D again. I'm excited about the United Food Bank ARPA dollars that the city's going to be giving as a grant over to United Food Bank, $5 million that will really help that operation and be able to feed more people. So I just wanted to bring that up again. We had a great discussion about that last week, but in case anyone missed it, I'm excited about that, so thanks.
Right, yeah, hopefully the attention we gave it at the study session will be sufficient, but yeah, thank you for pointing that out again. That's a great partnership. Mr. Smith?
Hey, Mayor and Council. Also, Councilmember Spilsbury at the last study session pointed out on 7A, it's next to another event center. And so we did add 2 stipulations before introduction on that. One is to say that basically it's not, can't be used for that type of an event center. I could read it if you like. And also requiring a development agreement. And we're going to be working on that. It'll be introduced tonight. And it's for adoption in 2 weeks. We think we might be able to get that development agreement done by then. If we don't, we can continue it then, but we'll try to sort of get it done within that time frame so that it stays on sort of the original timeline it was scheduled for.
Perfect. That was the other thing I was going to bring up. So did the conversation, was there a conversation had with the developer? Like, are they okay with that then?
Mayor, council, yes, Councilmember Spilsbury, we did talk to the applicant, explain to them what the stipulations would be that we were adding to the staff report, and that a development agreement that would also mirror what those stipulations said, what that would say.
Okay, so that would just need to be in place before we actually do the vote in 2 weeks.
Correct.
And we're planning on that happening.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Council, any other questions regarding tonight's formal council meeting? All right, thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on then. Agenda item 2A is to take action on board appointments. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Ms. Pillsbury and Mr. Freeman. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda for today is current events and conferences attended. Council members, anything you'd like to share with us? Mr. Freeman, I see you've got a beautiful award. Tell us about it.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I didn't receive this. I received it on behalf of Mesa Police Department. Julie's been part of the board, but this was the Night of Hope. It was about human trafficking that was held at Grady Gamage, and it was a great opportunity. All the churches were there, and I accepted that award to combat what our Heat Squad does in our city to combat sex trafficking in Mesa and our surrounding cities. In fact, Mayor Woods, Mayor, you may want to take this challenge. About 75% of his employees in the city of Tempe know about human trafficking and the signs if they want to be saved. And so there's some hand signs to be recognized, and they're certified in recognizing those signs. Maybe Mr. Brady would like to take that on and think about that. But with that, here's a great award that I would like. It's called the Night of Hope.
Before we leave that topic, I think what you're saying is if there's a person who is the victim of trafficking.
Or being trafficked.
There are hand signals they can use to alert someone, a waitress or a police officer or someone, is that right?
Anyone, yes.
Yeah. What is the hand sign?
I don't remember it. I wasn't taught it. I should have remembered that.
Okay.
He
Well,
never
yeah,
showed
thank,
it.
We've learned it.
we'll look into that, and so that's good to put it on our radar.
So a lot of the municipalities receive this award from Apache Junction, Tempe, a lot of the nonprofits about sex trafficking, especially around the Super Bowl. There's a lot of it happening at that time, so they want to bring awareness, and in fact, they'll be in Las Vegas next year doing the same thing about awareness.
Great. Thank you for representing us there. Ms.
Mayor,
Pillsbury.
excuse me, we didn't vote on item 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's running this meeting? All right, so we had a motion.
But I have a
I'm sorry,
question.
thank you. You're right. I skimmed right over that. We have some more minutes to approve.
I actually have a question, like, why?
Go ahead, and we'll come back to item 3. Go ahead, Ms. Duff.
Item 3, so there was 2 advisory board meetings held one on the 6th and one on the 7th. It wasn't just one?
There were too many applications.
They're reviewing all the activities for CDBG.
Oh, okay, so they split it into 2.
It was a lot of
Oh, is that why they did it?
applications. So they had to listen to all of them. It was
Oh,
probably
it's just, okay, thank
several
you.
hours, I imagine.
Right. So this is a first run at the recommendations. I'm
Right,
making
never goes to
council.
the board first, and they've ranked it, staff's ranked it, and I just saw it this morning, it'll be going to the committee, and then it'll come to the full council.
Okay. Thank you. So I skipped over agenda item 3, and that is to acknowledge receipt of board minutes Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Ms. Spilsbury and Ms. Duff. Any further discussion or question on those minutes? Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That passes unanimously. Now we will return to current events and conferences attended. Ms. Spilsbury.
I just want to thank Councilmember Freeman for going to that event on Friday. I was out of town and couldn't make it, and obviously it's a passion of mine, and I am just really glad that we had someone from Mesa there to represent, to accept that award. And I also think that that's it's the See Something, Say Something campaign.
Yeah.
So I think we should look into that with our employees. That's great for as big a city as we are. And then also Councilmember Freeman and I last week attended the Verizon Frontline Command Center in Phoenix, and we looked at how they maintain their network sustainability, performance, and security to provide reliable communications during the Waste Management Open and the Super Bowl. Wow, it was very impressive. They put $100 million into the Valley for the Super Bowl. I mean, that's a huge investment that then stays in the Valley after the Super Bowl leaves. So it was really cool. And I'll let someone else talk about our fun event today, but that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Who would like to go next? Councilmember Duff.
I'll mention a couple of things, but I'll save today's big event for the mayor or someone else who would like to bring it up. The mayor and I and Mr. Brady attended the Mesa Police Academy class number 53 graduation on Saturday. Congratulations to all the cadets. They are making a difference. And that evening, I also attended the Mesa Contemporary Arts Museum spring reception. And the new exhibitions are on crafts. It's a tremendous, we have such a gem in that museum, and everybody should know that it's a free museum to check out any day. They're open every day except Mondays. So check out the new exhibit. Thank you.
Thank you. I need to get over and see the new exhibit. Ms. Spilsbury.
I forgot. The Idea Museum is having their new exhibit that opens on Friday, and it's Desert Roots. It's so fun. Plants, roots, seeds, trees. It's really, really fun. I got to go see a sneak peek of it last week. So I just encourage anyone to go check out the new exhibit at the Idea Museum.
Thank you. Any other current events to discuss? At a couple of invitations, there was a very cool event today that I was thrilled to be a part of, along with most of our council. Dr. Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States, came to Mesa this morning, and I think we all know that she, in addition to being the First Lady of the United States, is a community college professor, and she's very passionate about community colleges and about college promise programs. You may have seen that the last two State of the Unions, or her husband, I'm guessing at her encouragement, talked about the importance of continuing education post-high school for 2 years. And so I know that this is a passion of hers. And so she came and gave a shout out to Mesa Community College College Promise Program. I was very proud of our city and of the commitment that this council's made to addressing something that we can be better at, which is higher education attainment. And so I was very proud. There was the young lady that introduced the First Lady was really a fun story, wasn't it? Nice young lady who was Lily Hernandez. Man.
She made us all cry.
She made us all cry. She's making me cry again today. She told the story of being a year or two out of high school, and she had a job that wasn't really taking her where she needed to go. And so she went back to her high school counselors, and they said, let's use the Mesa College Promise and get you enrolled at Mesa Community College. And she's now studying construction management, and I'm sure she will have a great job at the end of her education. Her father is in the construction industry, and she would come home and talk about the things she was learning, and he goes, I need to know this stuff. And so now he's a student in the construction management program at Mesa Community College. So that's one of, and the stage was full of other members of the cohort. So I may be talking about it more than I should, but it was a proud moment, I think, for Mesa Community College and for the city of Mesa. Yes, thank you. Governor Hobbs was also there.
Secretary of Education.
Thank you. And the Secretary of Education. So it was couldn't have been a bigger deal for Mesa Community. I can't imagine a a bigger day in the history of Mesa Community College. Yes.
In case you didn't talk about it enough, what you did, but I'm going to still add a comment because
Please.
I loved, in some of the remarks today, there was just really an obvious connection of how the college promise is the workforce development, right? And that it creates a bunch of different paths. And I just loved that they really connected that 80% of, or was it higher? Like 80% of the kids that do College Promise are first-generation college students, and they're changing generations of lives, be able to get better jobs. And the programs that they offer at MC could put them straight into a career or send them to a four-year university. I mean, it's so amazing to see the connections with all these businesses and different universities, and that really does create that path to then create the workforce that we need in our city for all of these businesses that are coming. So I just loved those connections that were made today during the program.
Thank you. Amen to that. And it's a great program, but it needs to continue to grow. Funding has not been the challenge. I mean, the comment I made today at the program was raising money for this has been easy because everyone in the business community is ready to support it. The challenge is getting the word out and changing culture. I mean, a lot of the first generation families, they don't know, what they don't know, right? They need to reimagine what the possibilities for their children are. So the more that we can talk about it, the more we can publicize it, maybe the more we'll get people to take advantage of this program. So that was great. Anything else on that? One other event that I went to that I just wanted to highlight, the Mesa Academy, the Mesa Public Schools School for Gifted Children had a great program at the end of that last week where they did, you all came to the hackathon. They did their own version of the hackathon, and their 8th grade students worked on 5 different topics. It was extremely impressive. Thank you to all the city staff people that were there judging and seeing those presentations. But again, just very impressive presentations by the Mesa Academy. Congratulations to them. Council, anything else you'd like to talk about under this agenda item? Mr. Brady, what does our schedule of future meetings look like?
Thank you, Mayor. We will not be having a study session this Thursday, but we will be reconvening again on Thursday, February 23rd. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. That concludes the agenda for this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Summers, and seconded by Ms. Pillsbury. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned.